Have you ever felt like you were just stuck? Like you're walking through thick mud and every step is a struggle? That was me not too long ago. I had a decent job, a nice apartment, a life that looked pretty good on paper, but inside I was empty. I'd wake up every morning with this heavy feeling in my chest, a sense of dread for the day ahead. My dreams, they were like old photographs, faded and collecting dust on a shelf I never looked at anymore. I was just going through the motions, convinced that this was all life was ever going to be. Then, one rainy Tuesday, everything changed. It wasn't a lightning strike or a lottery win. It was a simple, quiet moment. I was on my lunch break, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, when I saw a picture of a place I'd always dreamed of visiting, the rugged, breathtaking mountains of Patagonia. I'd pinned that picture to my vision board in college, full of hope and excitement. Seeing it again felt like a punch to the gut. What happened to that person, the one who believed anything was possible? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that mountain. It wasn't just a travel destination anymore. It became a symbol of everything I'd given up on. The adventure, the challenge, the feeling of being truly alive. And a question started burning in my mind. What if? What if I stopped waiting for someday? What if someday was right now? It was a terrifying thought. My logical brain screamed at me with 1,000 reasons why it was a stupid idea. I had responsibilities, bills, a career to think about. How could I just drop everything and chase a faded dream? But for the first time in years, a different voice, a quieter one, whispered back, "How can you not?" That whisper was more powerful than all the shouting. The next day, I started a secret savings account. I labeled it Patagonia Fund. Every extra dollar I made, every coffee I skipped, every time I cooked at home instead of eating out, the money went into that account. It wasn't much at first, but with each deposit, I felt a spark of life returning. I wasn't just saving money, I was investing in myself. I was buying back my dream $1 at a time. I started researching. I learned about the gear I'd need, the trails I could hike. I started training. I began with short walks around my neighborhood, feeling out of breath and foolish, but I kept going. Those walks turned into jogs, then into long hikes on the weekends. My body got stronger, and more importantly, my mind did too. With every mile I conquered, the voice of doubt grew a little quieter. The feeling of dread I used to wake up with was slowly being replaced by a sense of purpose. I was no longer just existing. I was preparing. 6 months later, I walked into my boss's office. My heart was pounding, but my voice was steady. I quit my job. My colleagues thought I was crazy. My family was worried. And honestly, a part of me was terrified. I was stepping off the predictable path into the complete unknown. There were no guarantees. But for the first time, I felt like I was in control of my own story. The day I finally boarded the plane, I was a different person. The journey itself was everything I'd imagined and more. I saw landscapes that looked like they were painted by the gods. I pushed my body to its limits, hiking for hours under the vast open sky. There were moments of pure struggle when my muscles ached and the cold bit at my skin, when I wondered if I'd made a huge mistake. But then I'd reach a summit and look out at the world stretching beneath me, and I'd feel a sense of peace and accomplishment that no paycheck had ever given me. One afternoon, I was sitting by a glacial lake, the water a surreal shade of turquoise. The air was so clean it felt like I was breathing for the first time. In that moment of complete stillness, I had a profound realization. The goal was never just about seeing a mountain. It was about becoming the person who could climb it. It was about proving to myself that I could do hard things, that I was capable of more than just surviving. It was about reclaiming my own life. Coming back home was strange. My apartment was the same, but I was not. The world looked different, brighter. I didn't have a job and my savings were depleted, but I was filled with a wealth of confidence and clarity I'd never had before. I knew I couldn't go back to my old life, to that gray existence, so I didn't. I started my own small business, something I was truly passionate about. It was a huge risk, even scarier than quitting my job. The first year was incredibly tough. I failed more times than I could count. But every time I felt like giving up, I thought about that mountain. I remembered the feeling of putting one foot in front of the other, even when it felt impossible. That journey changed the entire trajectory of my life. It taught me that we are not defined by our circumstances. We're defined by our choices. Most of us are living in a prison of our own making. A prison built with the bricks of Ica, int, and what if I fail? But the door to that prison isn't locked. You hold the key. Your mountain might not be Patagonia. It might be starting a business, writing a book, learning a new skill, fixing a broken relationship, or simply getting healthy. Whatever it is, that thing that whispers to you in the quiet moments, that's your mountain. Stop telling yourself you'll climb it someday. Someday is a myth that steals our dreams. The first step is always the hardest. It's small, and it might feel insignificant. Maybe it's opening a savings account. Maybe it's going for a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's writing the first sentence. But that first step is a declaration. It's you telling the universe that you are ready for a change. Don't wait for a sign. Create your own. That picture of a mountain was my sign, but I had to choose to see it. Look, I'm not here to tell you it will be easy. It won't. You will face doubt, fear, and criticism. You will want to quit. But I promise you this. The view from the top is worth every single painful step. The feeling of looking back and seeing how far you've come is a reward that no one can ever take away from you. You have a fire inside you. You have a mountain to climb. Stop just looking at the pictures. Start walking. Start today. Thank you for listening.